Helping kids cope with depression or anxiety can be difficult for parents. A new program in Franklin County uses theater and even circus stunts to help kids who are struggling. It's called Recovery Theater, and one of the catalysts behind it is the opioid crisis that's affecting so many families. Kirley McGrath spoke with Alexandra Schmidt and Recovery Theater founder Jonathan Diamond to learn more.
The Recovery Theater is part of the Hilltown Youth Performing Arts programs. And we had started originally as the Hilltown Youth Theater Summer Workshop at the Academy of Charlemont. My kids actually got me into this in terms of doing theater. They wanted to have a theater program in their school. My wife had a background in it. So we started a drama club. We started going to Double Edge Theater, which is just across the river from us. Right. And the next thing we knew, the thing had sort of blown up. And before we could blink, we had 8 aerial fabrics hanging from our rafters in the gym. We were doing indoor spectacles and moving around. Over time, those kids aged out of elementary school, and they went off to other middle schools and high schools, the Academy at Charlemont, Four Rivers, Mohawk, Greenfield. At this point, they wanted to continue doing this work, so we started this summer workshop, and we brought them back from all their different schools and places. Now I'd say we have kids from all over Western Mass. So the program really started to take off. I actually did it one summer without my kids and realized I really enjoyed it, but I had a mental health issue, and that's that I felt a little schizophrenic because I had this, I was leaving the set and rushing to my practice. Okay. And what I really realized is that most of the young adults in my practice, especially the ones dealing with trauma-based issues, things that were addiction, depression, anxiety. This was an experience they could really use. I could see what it was doing for the kids on the set. So I really wanted to bring those two worlds together. So the summer workshop has been I think this is going to be our 8th summer and our 7th outdoor spectacle. But it's our second. 2 years ago, we started the Recovery Theater. And the idea was to do a pre-workshop intensive where kids that wanted to use this work, the training we do, and the large apparatus to focus on their behavioral health and mental health issues. Right. And a guest artist I had, Alyssa Wright, who's my co-founder, is a consultant who does a lot of social change work. She works with battered women's shelters, Jane Doe, and a lot of organizations in Boston, New York that are about empowering young girls and helping them find their voice. So the two of us put together a curriculum or an intensive 2 summers ago, and we brought in all of the guest artists that we use for our workshop, and the things just sort of exploded since.
So Alex, tell us a little bit about how you became involved.
I became involved because my therapist told me that there was a trapeze set up across her house, so I decided to go, having the athletic background that I did. I went, I became really good friends with the person who rigs the whole trapeze and one of the participants in the Recovery Theater who launches the kids off. So we bonded a lot because I had to trust her enough to hold me over a 20-foot platform.
Oh my gosh. You couldn't get me doing that.
And let me swing above the trapeze. And then I met Jonathan through that, and he convinced me to try out the recovery because I struggle with anxiety myself.
So that is very surprising to most people who are watching. You are a beautiful 15-year-old girl, a dancer, a gymnast. From the outside, you look like you have it all together, but you're able to talk about that. There's other kids that are probably struggling like you. What would you say to them?
To any kid who's struggling with anything from anxiety to depression to addiction, I think it's very, very important to step outside your comfort zone because, for example, going to the Recovery Theater really opened a whole new world for me, and it gave me the opportunity to build myself as a person, and the community there just made me feel so supported, and I got more confidence and more self-esteem from it.
You look like you're made for the stage. She does.
Thank you.
So from Recovery Theater to Broadway someday. But what, do you have shows? Do you do workshops?
I would say the emphasis is much more on connection and community building, but one of our sort of mantras is if we're going to do it, let's do it right. And the people we've been mentored by are people like Double Edge Theater. We've had guests from Serious Play. I mean, one of the things, there's more ways to measure wealth than money. And one of the things that that West County and Franklin County is very rich in is this incredible cachet of artists and performers. And so as our students started getting mentored by them, we started upping our production and artistry values. So we figure if we're going to do it, we'll try to do it right. But we have people, Alex would be better suited to speak to this, but we have people who have never been in a performance in their life. And we have I think we have last summer we had 70 to 80 people involved in the production. We work large, so there's really a role for anybody. I think the kismet between the two programs, we don't make anybody perform who doesn't want to. There's plenty of opportunities to work behind the scene and help with tech, but everybody trains. Everybody, everybody's flying, everybody's is training. And what's really nice about the performance aspect of the program, we do the recovery intensives, and that is something that's much more about healing. We don't just have like an opioid or addiction or anxiety ghetto. It's important to take those skill sets and take them into, in our case, onto the set, into the school, into the community. Otherwise, what we're doing is not really, it's not going to be particularly helpful if they're not skills they can use in real life. So the other piece about it, I think, is it gives people a chance to test their mettle and use those newfound skills and confidence in a real event. I have done lots of outdoor adventure-based programming. I'm not saying that those aren't great things in the trapeze, but if they're not connected to something that's where it's part of a larger community and part of a larger and where you're making relationships and connections with other people, I'm not sure that it has the same impact.
And Alex, I just have to say to you, I want to be really clear, I would never go on a trapeze. So you are far, far ahead of me. So you're amazing as a young woman to come on and talk about that. But how has this helped you move forward with the things that you're struggling with?
This has helped me a lot. One of the things that I struggled with a lot was attending school, and that really isolated me in my own house, and I was really unable to go out and socialize or go out with friends. So breaking that ice and going into a house by myself to 70, 80 kids at a time with a flying trapeze rig.
Which I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one, but go ahead.
It really, really helped me. It really made me realize that I'm definitely going to come out on the other side of this, and that there's a way through, and maybe it's by community, maybe it's by jumping off of a trapeze rig, but it's really helpful in the bonding experience and knowing that everyone's supporting you, and we all want the same thing. We all just want to be happy.
Okay, we are going to be seeing you again someday. I am sure of it. Alex and Jonathan, thank you for coming in and letting us know what Recovery Theater is all about.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.